Hello, my name is John O'Connor. We're here speaking with a couple of experts in recruiting and human resources, and today we're covering, really a very important topic for any job seeker, which is how to be successful at a career fair. There's a lot of pet peeves I believe that Robin and Susan may have in both coaching people who have gone to job fairs and been very successful, or really running a job fair. I mean, having an employment booth and being a part of your employer's plan, or even engineering the marketing around those. So I think today we'll find out some of the tips and tidbits and maybe some of the secrets from job fairs. What works and what doesn't.
One pet peeve at job fairs I have with job seekers is them not coming prepared to be employed. They think this is just a shopping spree. And it doesn't matter what you wear, it doesn't matter how you present yourself, you're just delivering a resume.
One of my pet peeves is the job seekers that come at the end of the job fair, and they're just coming to, maybe they'll hear when you're talking to someone who really is interested, and they hear what you have to say about your company, and it might spike a little bit of interest, but they're at the end and they're not dressed appropriately. You can actually see them in the room just going around picking up the giveaways.
People show up and don't really have a strategy. I mean, I was just at a job fair last week. There were 40 employers. And one of the things that the participants didn't do was they didn't have almost like a ranking of who they should talk to first. So if there's a website that has information on it about the different employers, shouldn't those folks really research those companies and maybe find out, and maybe rank them?
If you do study it and you know what the companies are, you'll be able to strategize where to go so that the job seeker can be positive about who he's going to talk to.
It seems like now whenever you go to the job fairs that even if you come in, they, like with the JobLink job fairs, they have enough information from that employer in the brochures that they could even stand outside of the door and go through and read through some of the information about some of the employers and get prepared before they actually go in.
One of the things that I've coached people to ask is, tell me more about your opportunities in blank particular area, or this aspect of your company. Could you, and really have questions prepared for that employer. Is that too much to ask a job seeker to actually write down questions for each employer that they might meet?
No, and another way that I know a lot of people that are prepared that have approached me is, for instance, we're in the healthcare business, and they will say, well, I've got X amount of years in the healthcare services, and these are some of the things that I've done, and do you have this population? And then therefore I can go into the piece of what our company is about and see if their skills match what we're looking for.
At a job fair, physically, there may be 12 people standing behind you or more.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have time to get into a listing and rereading of your resume. Shouldn't you have some kind of they call it an elevator statement or a 30-second commercial? Shouldn't you have maybe somewhat of a success story or an accomplishment to get out pretty quickly when you talk to the employer? Say, not only do I have 15 years of experience, but one of the things that I'm most proud of is...
That just shows the preparation and that they have looked at why they're at that job fair and what they're looking for, and they are prepared to find a job at the job fair. And that's what it's all about, getting interviews and finding a job.
But you need to practice before you get there to answer certain questions? Like maybe someone could ask you, what if they said, what's your greatest strength?
You might be able to talk to someone from a company for 10 minutes until someone else comes up to that table. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have that preparation ready. But there could be, like you said, John, 12 people behind you to where you've got to condense that to about a minute or two.
Laptop computers and briefcases.
Briefcase, okay. You've got your resumes in there. Another pet peeve of mine are the folks who have their resume in the bottom of their book bag, and the book bag has to come off, and the zipper has to open up, and they have to dig through that folder where they thought they had their resumes and find it. You should have your resumes in a folder ready to present, just to be nice to the employers who have a lot of people to talk to in a short amount of time.
Well, to add to that with the resume, something that I've seen quite a bit of is if the information is not correct on the resume, and somebody will take a pen and mark through the information and write it in to fit the conversation that you're having. That is a pet peeve.
Yes.
Or the phone numbers have changed and they go through and they'll mark out the phone numbers right there at the booth at the job fair and fill in the information. I've seen that quite a bit. So that is a really pet peeve of mine. And I just take the resume and put it to the side.
Mm-hmm. What about the symphony of cell phones and other electronic devices?
Do I want someone that's going to be stopping to answer their phone all day long when I'm employing them to do a job? Probably not, and it reflects.
An appropriate thing to do, too, is I will have people call me the day of the job fair at the end of the day and say, I saw you earlier today, and I was calling to see if you reviewed my resume. That is a pet peeve of mine, the same day as the job fair, because I try to be courteous to people and say, allow at least 3 to 4 days, and if nobody calls you within this time, here's a number to call.
Salary, money. A lot of times people are eager, they're excited. When should that come up? I mean, that's an awkward moment for job seekers and the employer.
But you're trying to find out information about the company is trying to find out information on the job seeker. Mm-hmm. And in that 5 minutes time span you have, we can evaluate your skills and what your skills are worth. So there really is no point to bringing up the salary in the job fair.
Wouldn't it be a good idea for the job seekers maybe to meet with 1 or 2 or 3 employers, take a moment, and write down some notes of their impressions and what they need to do to follow up?
If folks are doing their homework prior to coming, the salary most of the time is on the websites, at least the ranges and the skills that are looking for. And I know now with the employers, they have to provide certain information prior to the job fair, so the job seekers will have enough information that, right there, that a lot of the questions that they can get their questions together and that they're answered for.
Paint your picture with your resume too. Have an outstanding, well-written document. Don't write in it during the job fair, but if an employer points out something, you can revise and send an electronic copy.
And it's a test. Can you follow directions? And when I ask you to go to my website and fill out the apply online section, can you follow directions and do it completely? It's another evaluation of your interest and your ability to perform the job that I'm looking for you to do.
There are still some employers that have the paper applications. One pet peeve is our company still has the paper applications, and one is because in our job there's a lot of documentation, so we want to see how well folks can write and follow directions. So if somebody asks you to fill out the application, fill out the entire application.
And other things, is there any last comments you'd like to make on this subject?
It is an opportunity to meet one-on-one with a lot of people, to meet people they wouldn't typically meet, going through applications, going through resumes, and trying to decide who matches with their company. If you make a positive impression on employers at a job fair, your chances of getting a one-on-one interview to get the job are dramatically increased.
Well, thanks, Susan. Thanks, Robin. Great points.
Thanks, John.